Hi, Martin. It's very nice to have you here today. Our main intention today is to find out more about you because you're almost like a legend in Phuket, and we cover you in many different videos. We refer back to you as an architect of luxury hotels and developments. As a first question, can you please tell us a bit more about yourself and your journey, how you became an architect?
Okay. Anyway, thank you for inviting me for this interview. As you know, I'm an architect originally from Argentina. After I finished my degree in Argentina, I went to the US and I was intending to do a master in architecture, but I met this professor, which he's an architect but had a master degree in landscape architecture. So he sort of introduced me into landscape. He said, why you want to do architecture? He said, when you already an architect. He said, you should study landscape. But of course, coming from Argentina and growing up in a big city like Buenos Aires, very urban, and I was not really that keen or interested in, what my notion of landscape was at the time. That was gardening and plants. But he really made me see what, and explain what landscape was about. And it was not just about plants, and flowers and trees, which was my idea at the time. So I decided to do my master in landscape architecture. And that changed completely, my vision as an architect and the way that, I approach work. Since then, because as you know, normally as an architect, you focus on the object.
Yes.
And you look at the building as a sculpture and you basically focus on that. But as a landscape architect, you focus on the context, you focus on the site and how the object and the building relates to the site.
Yes.
So in fact, when we approach a project, we start from the site and then analyze the site and see what the site can offer and how to bring the best out of each site.
So basically, this gave you a vision of how to do master plans, because when I see your works on your website, Tierra Design, I see lots of like master planning.
Yeah, well, of course, master plan is one thing, but also projects itself, even if it's not a master plan. I mean, no matter what the project is, we always start from the context and how it relates, to the neighbor, which is the immediate context, and also to the broader context. If the project is in Bali or is in New York or, is a different.
You're from Argentina and then did your master in USA. And then how you end up here in Thailand?
That's an interesting question. Actually, after I finished my master degree in US, I worked there for a few years. And then I met at the time my former wife, which is from Sri Lanka. So in one of her trips, coming to Asia, she got a job offer in Singapore. And then she said, oh, what do you think coming to Singapore so you can learn a little bit about my culture and, see. And of course, at the time, I didn't even know where Singapore was. So so I said, why not? Let's explore. And then, it was an opportunity for me to get familiar with her culture and with Asia. So she moved to Singapore and I moved to Singapore. And that's how I started my journey in Asia. So I got a job offer with a British company based in Singapore. And at the time, they were doing a lot of master plans in China, in Malaysia, Indonesia. So that's how I started, basically.
And then from Singapore, you start working in this area.
Well, from Singapore, after 2 years of working in this company, then I saw the opportunity to start a landscape architecture company, because it was something new at the time and there wasn't many people, doing landscape architecture. So I set up a Tierra Design in Singapore at the time and started, working in Singapore. So end up, being there for about 7 years. And while in Singapore, we applied for Australian citizenship. So one day we got a letter and said, you are granted citizenship, but providing that you need to move to Australia and live there for 2 years before we can. And we had 3 children at the time, and my eldest son was almost 6 years old. So we thought it was a good time to move to Australia, get the Australian citizenship by living there, and also an opportunity for the children to go through school in Australia and so on. So from there, I started Tierra Design in Australia. But during my time in Australia, I still was traveling back and forth, also servicing the clients and the projects that we had in Asia. And slowly from Singapore, Malaysia, the project started shifting into Thailand. And that's how we did the first project in Thailand. And there was no looking back after that.
I see. Do you remember what was the project?
Yeah, actually, my first project was in Kanchanaburi. Was this lady that has a beautiful site by the river and a house, and she wanted to have some accommodation for friends when they come to visit. So we developed sort of like a mini resort project for her. So that was our first project in Thailand.
Interesting. And what about Phuket? When have you started doing projects? Because now you have lots of them.
Subsequently, after that, also we got the opportunity to work into Twinpalms resort. Also, we were referred by a friend of us to the client, which is a Swedish client. And at the time, he was looking for an architect, and he decided to do a small competition. So he paid a few architects to come up with some ideas, and so we came up with the initial concept for Twinpalms, and he loved it. So he engaged us to work on that.
It was the first Twinpalms in Serene was opened 2011, 12?
No, actually it was 2004. Because that was the year of the tsunami, if you remember.
Yeah. Is it true that one of the owners of Twinpalms is from Swedish royal family?
Yes, that's correct. It's correct. The main owner is Swedish.
I see. And so your kind of main client in Phuket, not now, but back then, and still your client big client in Phuket is Twinpalms.
Yes, over the years, as you know, start working in Twinpalms and then sort of became friends, and then they start developing many other projects, as you know, like Catch Beach Club and Kalido and Bake. And so they start expanding into, different projects. Also, as you know, Lazy Coconut and Lazy Camp, which now started with 5 tents, and now there are 20 over tents.
I haven't been there, to be honest.
No, you should go. Actually, it's quite interesting because it's just recently completed.
It's at the same location as the Lazy Coconut?
Yes.
They also, so Twinpalms, the very first hotel is in Serene, and then they have one at Montezur. And at Montezur, you actually did the whole master plan.
Yes. Yeah. Initially, we were engaged by KBR. Actually, they did have a master plan done by a company in Singapore. And so they asked us to, review the master plan. And then when we look at that, we realized, the land, as you know, already has a lot of contours. And so the architect hasn't really considered a lot of, the land formation. And so basically we end up redoing the whole master plan for Monasur. And then eventually doing the first project, which is a Twinpalms residence at Monasur, which is a condominium project and right on the beach.
It's we were trying to find as an agency, because we are selling property, we were trying to find something similar, and it's really hard to find, especially if you're talking, maybe not first line, but right on sand. So, and then after Twinpalms Montezur, you was engaged by currently, I think, the biggest master developer Gardens of Eden.
Yes, I think
Can you tell us a bit more about Gardens of Eden?
that's quite an interesting project and perfect, for us actually. When I met the clients and they approached and they told me about the vision and they had the name Gardens of Eden, so I thought, wow, what a great opportunity, to do something unique. And when most of the developers are trying to maximize square meters and build more, these developers were quite open and to have a big and dedicate big spaces to a portion of the land to landscape. And so that was really the great opportunity. So I just jump into it.
And so you're doing developed did master plan for the whole site?
Yeah, we did the first. We did the master plan and of course then the architecture and the landscape.
Because most people, they don't understand how it works. They think that architects does basically like everything, and they view it as a picture. That they don't understand how much work is behind there. So they don't understand that the first site has to be master planned, right? And then the landscape is separate, even like landscape lighting designs. Sometimes it's facade designs as a separate scope, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And then engineering, and then architecture, interior. There is so much things to do.
Yeah. Actually, it's a teamwork. I mean, you need different expertise. To work together.
And so you did architecture and landscape for you're doing architecture and landscape for the whole project.
Yeah.
And you're working together with White Jacket on interior for...
White Jacket is doing the interior for phase 1. We are doing the interior for phase 2.
And 3.
Yes, and 3 as well.
Okay. Before you're doing the project, do you analyze layouts of competitors or competitive projects? You're doing this analysis?
Well, normally, I mean, it's good for every project to do a marketing study. So sometimes that marketing study may be done by companies like C9. And so then, they come up with a brief and said, okay, for this particular site, we recommend that, this type of project, this size of units, etc. So in this particular case, we did a little bit of research.
Because you have very, first of all, recognized architectural style. And second, you have really convenient layouts. Like when you open it, like, oh my God, it's so good. It's convenient, it's very efficient because you open, I understand there's different site conditions sometimes, right? Yeah. But still sometimes is the layouts really horrible and not efficient. So I'm not sure how you ended up having such a convenient and efficient layout.
Well, I believe that, I mean, first of all, a project must be functional. I mean, but these days there are many architects putting aesthetic first versions, function. But I believe that a project must, work well, I mean, to begin with. And then, the aesthetics, will be developed, through the process of, but the key is to have a project. And unfortunately, you see many projects these days that, when you look at the spaces, the spaces don't really work, or, when they try to fit the furniture, also doesn't fit. And so that's what in our office, we have a different expertise, not only architects and landscape architects, but we have interior designers. Because when we design the spaces, also the interior design looks at the spaces to make sure that work, the furniture fits, and the spaces are right. Because, if it's too big, also it's not good, and too small, they cannot fit, doesn't work. So it needs to be just right. So projects that even we are not the interior designers, we always look at the interior design to make sure that works. So when this interior designer comes on board, at least, the spaces work.
So you
it's
make
very
their job
important.
easier.
Yes, in a way.
Also, another very big client of yours that I've missed is Minor. Minor Group and the project Chiara Reserve. There is apartments and villas.
Yes.
I think that this was your first villa project in Phuket.
Actually, no. We have done a villa
Oh,
many
that's
years.
correct.
Villa Mayavi, if you
Mayavi,
remember,
correct.
which
Yeah,
is
sure.
in Kamala.
Yeah.
So that was our first villa in Phuket.
But this
So
is
these are-
standing alone villa.
Yes,
That
yeah,
is,
just a single owner. So these are the 17 villas that we are doing for Minor. And for Minor, we started first with the beach house at Layang, the
Yeah.
beach house. And then the Thai restaurant, which is new, and also the wellness component, life. And now the villas, which are under construction, and the condos.
It was for sale at 22 million. But I think now it's off for several years because there is one crypto guy.
Yes, that is renting
there for 2 years. And he paid, I think, in advance for the whole 2 years. And he lives there alone.
Wow.
How big is it? It's
over 1,000 square meters.
It's over
1,100 roughly. Yeah.
It's like almost on the cliff right above the sea. There's fascinating views.
Yeah.
And the guy lives there alone.
Yeah, it is a very unique villa because it's almost like two villas within one. Because the way that it was designed is, we designed this is for just a couple that live in there. And so the concept is when the couple is at home, they feel like they are in small house. But when they have family and friends to stay, then the house expands into another wing, and they have a common area that links both. So that is the point of connection.
Now you have another project, which is, my understanding is that this is your kind of personal joint venture, JV project.
Yeah,
right?
That's a very, very special project.
Very special project for you. It's Tierra Cuatro.
Yes.
Which means 4, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's 4 villas, large, spacious villas. And can you tell us a bit more, because it's not on the market? I had seen, of course, but it's really special.
Yeah. Actually, everything started because I was looking for some land because I wanted to make a villa for myself.
Ah, okay.
And then, I went to this place and I fall in love with the site because, the mountains, the greenery, there were buffaloes, around. There was a beautiful lake also, in this zone. So I said, okay, this is the place that I like to. So then we start looking at the land, we end up buying 4 rights of land. And then, after that, we decided to say, okay, why don't we do, first, branded villas, under Tierra.
By Tierra.
Because I see the opportunity in the market, those really nice, functional and beautiful, well-built villas with a lot of space, spaces that you can really connect with nature and have a nice, house to enjoy with. And so that's how we decided to come up. I said, let's do 4 villas and call it Tierra Cuatro. So this will be the first of our sort of branded residence that we plan to start in Phuket and hopefully in other places as well.
All your layouts, they are like square and rectangles and super efficient. And I'm not sure how you fit this all the time on site.
Well, as I said before, I really believe that, first of all, the spaces have to be functional to work. And again, I mean, we look, when we design this, we look at how the spaces relate to the garden, that relationship between indoor and outdoor, and also the interiors, how the interiors work, the function, how the furniture fits.
You've started over 20 years ago, because if Twinpalms was launched in 2004, you started like 2 years before that, probably.
Yeah, more like 3.5, 4 years before.
3.5, 4 years. So 24 years ago, 25 years ago.
Very young at the time, as you can imagine.
Yes. And how Phuket changed over that time?
Incredible. I mean, I've seen Phuket, like from over 20 years ago to now, and just completely, especially over the last few years. I mean, if you see the amount of projects now coming, it's just really crazy. And also I must say the quality of the projects is improving.
Comparing to what was before.
At the time.
You mean construction-wise?
The quality of construction, the quality of spaces has been getting, better and better. So that's a good thing. I mean, the bad thing is infrastructure, unfortunately. That, Phuket is lacking of infrastructure at the moment.
But the thing is picking up, maybe not as fast as we wanted, because maybe even government didn't expect this
I think nobody expected this boom over the last
few years.
So I think now they need to get up to speed, with, upgrading the roads, drains, and etc.
But what do you think about, in general? I'm pretty sure that you're following some projects and works of other architects in Phuket. Do you have any favorite, like, project in in terms of architecture in Phuket?
Well, I don't want to sound pedantic or but I guess of course I favor the project that we have been doing.
Of course.
And to be honest with you, I don't really follow. I mean, others. I don't try to compare, or I just focus on what we do. So.
What do you think? What's your view in Phuket market in general? Because you are dealing with clients, let's say, on the other side. Like, we are dealing on one side with end users. Actually, not with end users. We're dealing with clients that then they rent it out to end users, right? But still, we are dealing with one side of the market, and you are with another side of the market, which is developers, right?
Yes.
And you might see also increased amount of inquiries to do some projects here in Phuket. Is it growing? Is it really?
I mean, it seems like, there's no stop. It seems like the demand keeps growing, And, so far, we haven't seen any slowdown. If anything, we see more and more. And this is also extending to other places like Samui as well. Like, for many years, we haven't really done much work in Samui. And all of a sudden, we have, 3 projects that we are working in Samui. So, so it's not only Phuket, but it's also extending to other places in Thailand.
But your team, as far as I know, and I've been to your office, is not that big office. If you're at the same office in
I think we are at the same, but I think we are bigger than at the time that you came.
Okay.
I think we are 30 now. I don't know at the time that you came how many we were, but
it was
probably half of that.
6 years ago.
Yeah, probably about half. So now.
So you increased capacity.
We have, with the work demand, we had to increase.
But you also are doing projects in Bali.
Yes, we did an Andas in Bali, in Sanur, which has been also very well received, and we got a lot of really good feedbacks and a lot of awards.
And these are 5-star hotels.
It's part of a Hyatt brand. So it's sort of like a boutique brand for Hyatt. It's Andas.
I've heard that you didn't check on your website, to be honest, whether you've done some scope of work for airport in Singapore and in Qatar.
This was not in Qatar, in Singapore, but this was many, many years ago when I was still in Singapore.
We did a
landscape master plan, and also we work in Terminal 3 You know, that big green wall in Terminal 3 in Singapore also was done by us, but ages ago.
I see.
So this was one of, at the time, was the longest green wall internal in the world at the time that we did that.
Interesting. What about Panga? Are you doing something there? Because there is increased
yes,
interest.
it is increasing. Well, we have done a few years ago, we did a Pullman in Khao Lak. And also we are doing a villa at the moment. So that's as far as Phang Nga. We also been doing some master plan over the years.
You probably know about this recent code changes that you can build from 80 to 140 meters.
Yes, but they're not really effective yet. They have been talking that it's going to happen, but
no, it's
is
already
it confirmed?
Yeah, it's confirmed. 13th December.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
not aware of.
It's confirmed.
Oh, wow.
So you can do it. But what they're doing now is they basically pushing foreign developers to partner with landowners, like JV structure, because they're saying that you cannot come, buy, and then develop. You have to own the site before 13th December in order to develop it. So basically, you have to partner with the landowners. But for you as an architect, it might, because you already worked in a Millionaire's Mile. Yeah. And there, so basically, it's quite big land bank being released to the market, right? You didn't have any.
Well, to be honest, I was hoping that it will not get confirmed.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it will be a pity, because now you can see the top of the mountains, green. So I'm just worried that all of a sudden, that will disappear and you just see buildings.
Still, it's interesting. I think we might see some high ultra luxury standing alone villas, something like Villa Mayavi, maybe up there.
Sure. Well, even the site in Mona Sur, a lot of the land is above 80, if you remember. So there's going to be.
I talked to them. There is 110 rise of land being available now for construction. It's quite interesting. I see now that everyone is trying to adopt this, like new developers. They're trying to adopt this city sort of style of buildings and interiors. I guess don't understand what means tropical design, because when I see at your designs, it's clearly like tropical design. I mean, to live in tropics. Is there any key elements that you always try to stick with in order to say that this design is tropical architecture?
Well, but also remember what I mentioned before is, as an architect, you need to look at the context. And for people coming to Phuket, I mean, the first thing that you need to imagine is people come to Phuket because of the beach and because of nature. They don't want to, come from big city and be in the same environment that they live. So that's what is very important to start from the context and studying that, rather than just, doing a building, thinking, is it going to look, pretty like that? It's going to look nice, and just focus basic on the aesthetics. So that is what we always, try to do. Just look at the function, look at the context, and how to basically also connect people with nature. Because I believe that, that's very important. And we seem as human beings, we sort of forgotten where we're from, and now, like 70% of the world are living in this concrete jungle, and there's no longer any connection with nature. So that's
you're based in Bangkok, right?
Yes.
Most of the time you live in Bangkok. How you feel when you come here to Phuket, and then when you switch between those environments?
Yeah, well, of course, a big difference. But I'm lucky enough, because in Bangkok I live by the river, so I'm already connecting with nature, because I have a park across from on the other side of the river, And so it's so when I get to my house, I immediately connect with nature. But of course, living in the city, is crazy because of pollution, because of noise, traffic, and so you can imagine someone that has to live 24 hours in that environment, day and night, go to work, come back home, and never leave from that. I mean, people become crazy. And that's why you see, so many problems, today, in big cities.
You can choose any plot on any beach, and you can build whatever you want in Phuket. What would it be,
Well,
and where?
That's a tricky question because it depends. I mean, if you come as a retiring, or if you come to work, or if you come to, depend. But as I mentioned before, the land that I really like is in Jampa area, because I personally like the greenery. I like to connect with nature. I like the mountains. I get attracted by mountains and green. So I think that's one of the nice areas, because also you need to consider in today's day the infrastructure and traveling time in Phuket.
Yes.
And so that area is relatively very close to the airport. It's like 10-15 minutes drive, and then 10-15 minutes drive to the beach.
Yes.
So that's, in terms of location, I think it's one of the best in my opinion.
And it's kind of designed for mostly for people to stay there permanently.
Yes,
because I see there is one villa. It has a carport for 4 cars.
Yes,
it's like almost I haven't seen such things in Phuket. It's super convenient.
Well, it's a lot about living in comfort, and the luxury of space and comfort, which is hard to find these days with a lot of the new villas that you see coming up in the market. So either they don't work, or the quality is shocking, the design. So we wanted to have the opportunity to do good design, and functional, and
How you control this?
Well, I think the most important, especially when dealing with clients, and always said the design is the easy part of the project. I think the hardest part is to deal with the client and bring along the client through the whole process till the building is done. Because you have many clients that along the way they panic, or they see things before they are built and say, "Oh, but this one too big or too," without really having the benefit of understand the whole context. So I think as an architect, I mean, I would say 90% is psychology, because you don't want to be, come across too arrogant to the client, to the point that the client feels that you're not listening to them. So at the same time, you need to make sure that you are firm, because you want the project to be successful and to be the way that you ambition. So you have to be firm, but in a gentle way, and make the client also feel like you are listening to, to what they say and their input. So it's quite a delicate balance.
Yeah, but in terms of quality control on site, I know that you come.
We spend a lot of time in supervising the site. We have architects also in Phuket, based here, that are 24 hours on site, checking things, talking with the contractor, and so on. So that is a very, very important part of the process.
Do you want to say a few words to your future clients and end users in Phuket?
Well, I think maybe what I would say, which I tell many of the clients, is when you choose an architect, you must, look at their work, but also you must, talk to the architect and make sure that you feel comfortable with the architect, because it's a very long process. So you have to work with an architect. When you engage the architect, you have to work with an architect for many years. So it's not just only to see the portfolio and see that, it looks nice. But make sure that you have a good rapport with the architect.
Mm-hmm.
And as I always said, is not every project is, for one architect. So you have to, see what feels right for the client and the architect. I think what I mentioned before, the problem that I see with many projects, even with architects,
Mm-hmm.
is through the design process, many architects try to please the client. So then whatever the client said, they will say yes, just to
And we'll
please them.
adjust everything.
And then at the end of, the end result is not what the architect vision.
Mm-hmm.
So the architect will not be happy, and also it's not 100% what the client wanted. So the end falls back into the architect again. So that's what is, as I said, that is the most difficult part of a project.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure that you can realize your idea, as how you vision it, from day one. And you need to convince the client through the process to make sure that.
When I was going through your website and see your projects, I've seen one that caught my eye, which is Catch Condominium. But it never happened.
Yes.
Do you know why? You already was, how far you end up, did you have interior started? What was the process?
I think that one was a little bit tragic in a sense, because I don't know if you remember that the husband and wife, which were the main clients, they had an accident and they passed away.
No, actually, I don't know this.
So they went to Kota or something and they drowned in the pool. So that's what, unfortunately, the project.
And they were main investors behind it? Or?
Yeah, they were the main developers of the project.
Ah, I see. But they were using Catch brand.
Yes, the idea was to, team up and do branded residence and the Catch.
So. But Twinpalms doesn't want to continue with this idea?
Well, but it's not because the land went into, the family and the family.
I see.
So that's what everything stopped, unfortunately.
Are you doing any branded residences here in Phuket or maybe in other areas? And in general, what's your view on branded?
Yeah, I think that there's of course, there's a value on branded residence. And that's also the reason why we're doing Tierra.
Correct.
Because there is adds a value, and we the only project at the moment that we'll be looking at maybe doing branding is Mandarin Oriental in Samui. So we are doing a new Mandarin Oriental resort in Samui, and there will be a component of branded residence as part of that.
So you, as an architect, you work directly with brand to fit. They give you a list of criteria that you have to follow, right?
Yes. Normally the operators will have a brand standard that they call it. So they give you a brand standard, and you follow that. Which most of the hotels, like again Hyatt, Mandarin, all the big chains, they have a.
What about non-hotel brands?
Like
fashion?
Well, fashion
or automotive brands
is something relatively new that is becoming now that you see a lot of. So I will imagine, they will still not have a brand, manual, but I guess it's something that they will develop as they go along.
You did not work yet with this type of projects?
Not. I would say, not yet with some of those, new.
But even like hotel branded residences, in your experience, you see that developers are more happy with that. The sales pace is higher. The capital gains.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what everyone is sort of jumping into branded, because they see that they can get a higher, sales. And actually, I shouldn't say that, because also Anantara, Kiara Reserve, and is also branded.
Yes.
And so I guess, we also doing that. And as you know, also, that's why they command a premium, because it's, attached to the
Correct.
Antara
Yeah,
brand.
many don't understand that when you're buying something branded, it's first of all is very limited.
Yeah.
Second of all, usually brands, they are looking at the product more carefully than others because they have already mature reputation on the table and they don't want to risk it, right? Well, thank you, Martin.
Thank
It
you.
was really great to talk to you today. Do you have any?
My pleasure.
Maybe there is something else you want to add?
I think maybe we'll save it for the next time. Of course, there's always many things to.
Yes,
But,
yes.
But anyway, I think maybe for today.
Okay, thank you for today. I know that you have busy schedule. Don't want to overload you with more questions.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.